36-year-old Marcus Arduini Monzo is going to appear at Westminster Magistrates Court today. They've moved his court hearing from Essex into the city. He's going to be charged with the murder of 14-year-old Daniel Anjorin in a sword attack in north-east London 2 days ago. That is an update on the earlier location that we had, as I say, on the programme.
Now, police were called to reports of a car crashing into a house and people being stabbed early Tuesday morning. 4 people, including 2 police officers, were injured and a man was tasered at the scene.
Well, in England and Wales, less than 7,000 officers are authorised to carry firearms, which is a fraction of the total. So we're asking, have we reached the point now in this country where it's time to arm the whole force? We've got the former head of the National Counter-Terrorism Security Office, Chris Phillips. He says, yes, it is. The move would definitely improve public protection. But the Met Police Superintendent Leroy Logan says that it would actually strain relations with the public. So let's go to the pro-argument first. Do you think that we need to arm the police because conditions socially in this country have changed so much that the risk factors are so common now that we just have to have that option?
Good morning, Richard. Yes, absolutely. The society has changed and, you know, we all would not like police officers to be armed, but unfortunately circumstances are now dictating that officers are being called to more weapons, more violence. You know, yesterday we had a school being attacked. Yesterday we also heard about doctors and nurses being attacked. Violence is growing across our society. We haven't got enough prisons to put people in. We haven't got enough hospitals for mental patients to go into. They're in the community. And our police officers are being asked to do an impossible job. We're
looking at the extraordinary CCTV footage and telephone video footage of the events in Hainault 2 days ago. Almost continuous coverage, actually, of the movements of the man who's now appearing in court today. You could see that initially police who weren't armed and didn't have tasers to begin with had a real problem on. I mean, they were so brave in approaching, but they had to keep withdrawing and keep withdrawing, and as he went on the rampage. And you kind of did think, if they were armed, this would end now. Yeah, well, take you back just a few weeks to Australia, and the guy that was doing a very similar thing in the shopping centre, one single police officer was able to deal with that threat very quickly with a firearm. Now, you know, we're against it in this country, firearms, police. However, that's not even a term. Armed police is not a term anywhere else in the world. No. It's just police. Police carry guns as a matter of course. Ideally, we wouldn't, but I think society is changing to the extent that we need to.
So, time to gear up. Time to arm the police because the world has changed.
Well, I beg to differ that their life has changed dramatically. I mean, violence has been in society for years. I agree that it comes very randomly now. We're seeing that a lot of issues around instant arming of people, deranged in some way. But the fact that those officers were cognizant enough to get that person contained, and as a result of that, they use their tasers very effectively. Now, I think let me land. I think that there should be an enhancing of officers with tasers and a proper training to then build it up to general patrol officers having firearms. I think is another step.
What is the reasons against giving them guns, in your view?
I think it changes the look and feel of policing. Some people say, well, you know, people be reassured having officers with firearms generally patrolling our streets. That would give more of a occupying force than a police service. For some communities who are on the receiving end of heavy-handed policing, having armed officers, again, will make things even worse for them. And communities, unfortunately, trust and confidence in police is the worst it's been for decades.
What about
Chris,
his point?
we have, don't we, armed police officers who are, you know, at airports and in situations. But there are some cases where it wouldn't be helpful. For instance, in community policing, when you're trying to bridge barriers.
I was a community police officer. I completely understand that you need to be in the community. But this is not a problem in Australia or New Zealand. They're all walking around with guns. They're still in the community. They're still able to talk to the members of the public, as you would hope they
Well,
would.
you mentioned other countries. Can I throw one back at here? He mentioned the recent example in Australia where an armed policewoman was able to deal with the threat very, very quickly because she was carrying a gun. We saw the scenes a few years ago on the Promenade des Anglais in Nice with the lorry driver who was mowing people down on the pavement late one night, and it was only the fact there were two gendarmes who routinely were armed who were able to pull their guns and shoot the guy through the windscreen and stop him. These are very potent examples, aren't they, to support the argument for arming police?
Yeah, and there's other examples where containment has had the desired effect and stopped that person from committing further crimes. Because invariably, when people are instantly creating havoc, injuring, harming, killing people, invariably you haven't got police nearby anyway. And I don't think it actually sends the right signal that we react to this debate when there is a tragedy. I think there needs to be a real thorough analysis of where firearms with police officers has actually helped. And also, I'd like to think, you know, you're saying you want to bring gearing up. But where are you going to get the trainers from? Because austerity, as trash police numbers, specialist officers, trainers, where are you going to get the trainers to get the appropriate training?
Well, that's a practical point, isn't it?
Because the practical point of training officers appropriately in stress situations is a key part to prevent errors being made.
Yeah, although I have to say, on the whole, I'm against arming the police routinely, but I have to say that if I'd been living in that street in Hainault a couple of days ago, I would have been very glad to see an armed police officer arriving. But look, we asked you. We don't know what the results are. This has come as a surprise to us as much to you. We said, is it time to arm police officers? Well, a majority, 54% of you said yes, it is, and 46% of you said no, we need to keep things as they are.
So it's a slim majority, but it's there. Thank you very much to both of you. Good to speak to you this morning.